and then go and welcome everybody. So welcome. Thank you so much to everybody for being here at our Health and Wellness Expo. We're so thankful to all of you for sharing your time. And then of course to Taylor for sharing your time and expertise with us. We do have continuous sessions for today through Wednesday. And then of course we have sessions tomorrow as well. If you miss any of the sessions, you can come back and view our recorded sessions. They'll be posted to our website by next Wednesday, the 21st. And just a couple of things, we ask that you just stay muted throughout the session unless directed by Taylor if there's some opportunity for conversation. But we do encourage you to use the chat for comments, for questions, and we'll be able to take a look at those. I would like to take some time to introduce you to our presenter today. So Taylor O'Shea is a junior undergraduate student in Rowan's Coordinated Master's Program in Nutrition and Dietetics. She is the current president of the Nutrition Care Club, which is a group dedicated to promoting nutrition and wellness to the Rowan community, as well as providing professional development opportunities to students. Taylor has a passion for nutrition and health, and she loves to teach others and aspires to one day be a registered dietitian. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the floor over to Taylor. I'll stop sharing my screen and you can take it away.
Great, thank you. I do have a PowerPoint to share, so I will just get that set up. All right, well, like Katie said, thank you all for being here. Today, I'm going to be presenting on healthy eating habits in college. So I hope that you all can learn something from this and take something away with you. So I want to start out just by getting you guys engaged, thinking about nutrition. So we're going to do some trivia questions. These are all about sugar. So you're going to try to guess how much sugar you think is in these specific foods and beverages. So the first question is, how much sugar do you think is in a venti Starbucks peppermint white chocolate frappuccino? So these are your possible choices. If you want to send your guess in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and shout it out. So some people are thinking 82 grams, 98 grams. So it will be 82 grams. That's definitely a lot of sugar, way more than the recommended daily amount. And that's just in one drink. So just to put it into perspective for you guys. Next, we're looking at a 20-ounce bottle of Coca-Cola. And these are the options. Looks like we have answers all over the board. So it's going to be 65 grams of sugar. So a little bit less than the Frappuccino, but definitely up there. And, you know, some people are drinking multiple bottles of Coke or cans of Coke a day. So this really does add up. Now, how many donuts do you guys think are equal to one 20-ounce bottle of Coca-Cola? Four, three, six, we're getting guesses all over the board. And it will be 6 donuts. And that blows my mind. And I made this presentation and I've seen this so many times, but it is really kind of unbelievable how the amount of sugar in 6 donuts is in one bottle of Coca-Cola. Now we're gonna pivot to a more healthy option, so to speak. These are the naked juices. So how much sugar do you guys think is in a naked juice? $35 grams, 24. So it is actually higher than that. It's 53 grams. You will notice on the image to the side that there is no added sugar in naked juices. It is all naturally occurring sugar from the fruits and the vegetables. but it is important to note that these juices, they're not the whole fruit. So you're getting in a lot of sugar all at once, and you're not getting any of the fiber or just like the sensation of like eating and chewing, which is often more satisfying than drinking. So uh, that's cool to put into perspective, even about a food that's marketed as healthy. So I hope that kind of got you guys ready to learn about nutrition. So I'm going to start out just by talking about some basic nutrition, um, about the macronutrients. We'll talk about my plate and also food labels. So the three major macronutrients are carbohydrates, protein, and fat. And I'm sure some of you have heard of these before. So I'm going to talk pretty basic about each of them. Carbohydrates are our body's preferred energy source. That's why they make up the bulk of our diet. It's about half of them usually. And some examples of carbohydrate-rich foods are grains, starchy vegetables, and fruits. Now, proteins are important because they are the building blocks of all of our tissues in our body. Proteins are made up of amino acids. Some of them are essential, which means that you can only obtain them from your diet. Our bodies cannot make them. And protein makes up about 10 to 30% of our diet. And some examples of protein-rich foods are meats, eggs, beans, tofu, and dairy. And fat is a more energy-dense food. It contains nine calories per gram as opposed to 4 in carbs and protein. And fat is really important for energy storage. It helps with vitamin absorption. It protects our organs and things like that. There are also some essential fatty acids. Those are the omega-3s and omega-6s, if you guys have heard of them. So we have to obtain them from our diet. Our bodies can't make them on its own. And fat makes about 20 to 35% of our diets. And some examples of fat sources are oils, nuts, and even some fish. So the USDA has this thing called My Plate, which I'm sure some of you have seen before. We actually moved from the food pyramid to My Plate, and I really like this because it kind of shows you the proportions of each food group that you should be eating, as opposed to the pyramid, which was kind of, difficult to interpret. And another thing I like about this is that it's a good reference for how to build a balanced meal. You can see like a quarter of your plate are grains, a quarter is protein, and then about half are fruits and vegetables. Now we'll get into food labels. So recently, the USDA and FDA came out with new updated labels. And I just want to go into what's different about these. So for one thing, the serving size, which is in the blue up at the top, that is now in a larger font and it's bolded. And they also have changed the serving sizes to reflect more accurately what people are actually eating. So for example, one that I have noticed is that on like a pint of ice cream, there used to be 4 servings in a pint of ice cream. They have switched that to now reflect only 3 servings because that was a bit more accurate with what people actually ate in a pint of ice cream. The pink highlighted portion is the calories. This has also been bolded and is in much larger font just because it's kind of like right in your face, like this is the number of calories in each serving of food. You also see in the green down here, this is the breakdown of all the nutrients. And one thing that they added here was that they included a line for added sugars. Now this is new and very helpful because like we discussed with the naked juice, something could have a ton of sugar in it, but it could be naturally occurring sugar. So this helps consumers differentiate between what was added to the food in terms of sugar and what is in the food naturally. So that was included, as well as the percent daily value, which is in purple along the side. I'll get into that more in the next slide, but this is also a helpful reference for some people. And then of course we have in the green towards the right, some essential vitamins and minerals. So I'm going to talk about how to read the labels. Like I was talking about with the serving size and all of that, I think it's important to look at that when you're reading a label. I don't think that it's all about the calorie count. So when you're reading labels, you want to look for also things like sodium, fiber, added sugar, and then also looking at the ingredient list. And this can help you kind of get a more holistic picture of the food that you're eating, not just, looking at one single number on it. One rule of thumb is when you're reading the ingredients list to look for a shorter list and something that contains ingredients that are recognizable to you and that you understand. And going back to the percent daily value, what this means is what percent of that nutrient, like what percent it comprises of like the recommended daily amount. The issue with this though is that it only applies to a 2000 calorie diet, which is not suitable for everyone. So the percent daily values aren't the best to go off of if your energy needs are a bit different. So just to get you guys checked back in, we're going to do a little bit of trivia again. Which macronutrient in general makes up the majority of our diets? Yep, you guys are right. It is carbohydrates. They make up about 50% of our diet, maybe a little more or less, depending on the person. So now we're going to get into being healthy in college. I want to open up for a bit of discussion quick, just asking you guys what healthy means to you and how you practice a healthy lifestyle. You can type in the chat or unmute yourself if you want.
I was just gonna say like a nice balanced diet with like all the macros and all the vitamins and minerals that you need.
Yeah, definitely. I find for myself when I'm eating a balanced meal, making sure I get my, vitamins and minerals, all the nutrients, I definitely feel my best. Fruits and vegetables, yeah, definitely. I noticed for myself, I eat a lot more fruits and vegetables in the summertime when they're in season, and I always feel way more energetic and way more active. Yep, Lauren said eating foods that make me feel good and give me energy to do my schoolwork. It's definitely important when we're like, especially right now when we're getting towards the end of the semester, we got to keep pushing through. So nutrition definitely helps with that. Thank you guys for sharing. So we're going to talk about navigating your options. This is more for on campus. So if you are on campus, these are some really great tips. You want to look for keywords such as grilled, baked, and steamed. These foods are generally lower in saturated fat, lower in sodium, and also these methods of cooking foods preserve the nutrients a lot more than frying foods, sauteing foods. And those are the words you might want to not necessarily avoid, but just limit in your diet. I definitely preach moderation. Everything's okay in moderation. You just have to find the balance with it. So the suggestion is to limit the foods that are fried, crispy, sauteed. You want to stick mostly to whole and unprocessed foods. Those should make up a bulk of your diet. And then you can also use the previous tips I mentioned with My Plate to build your balanced meal. Another great tip is just to not eat when you're super hungry. Like don't wait until you're super hungry, but because when you do that, say you have a really busy day and you forget to eat, when you do start eating, you will probably eat really quickly. You could even overeat, and that can just lead to discomfort later on. So I recommend eating slowly, eating mindfully, and just checking in with yourself, asking yourself if you're still hungry and want more food, or maybe you feel satisfied and that means you can stop, and just things like that. And if you're curious about any of the nutrition information or the ingredients used in any food on campus, you can download the Dine on Campus app, and it tells you the breakdown of everything, which is really cool. And I definitely used that a lot when I was living on campus. So just some examples of things I have made in the past at Glassworks, which is Rowan's main dining hall. This was obviously pre-COVID. Things are a little bit different right now, but something I love to make was oatmeal. So I would use oatmeal, top it with any fruit that they had that day. So in this case, I used a banana. And then I use peanut butter, but if you're allergic to peanut butter, obviously you can skip this step. You can also top it with honey, whatever tastes good to you. But oatmeal is a really great option. It's rich in fiber and protein, so it'll keep you full for a long time. And then another great option to make at Glassworks is a salad. They have a really nice salad bar there. You can't serve yourself right now, but they still have all the ingredients. So you can really just pile on the veggies, add in a protein of your choice, and then a dressing of your choice too. Of course, if you want to go the healthiest route, I would recommend a like vinaigrette based dressing instead of a cream based dressing. And then on the right here, I have symbols for the vegan, vegetarian, and balanced. You will find these on the Dine on Campus app, and they just help signify the different foods that are offered by gourmet dining. So if you have any dietary preferences, this can show you easily like what's available for you to eat. And then the balanced symbol means that that food falls under a certain guidelines in terms of like sodium, calories, saturated fat. I don't have that information on hand with me right now, but they're just foods that are generally recognized as a healthier option. And then of course, there's the marketplace located in the student center. Just one example I have here on the left was a grain bowl from Freshens. And then I also have the menu put here for Sono. I think Sono has a lot of great options, a lot of really fresh foods, and very nutritious as well. So I think the marketplace has really great options. You just kind of have to look around and just find like what sounds good to you and also what might fall into the descriptors that I mentioned previously. Now I'll talk a little bit about beverages. So obviously water is your best option here, but I know some people have a hard time drinking enough water, whether it's because they don't like the taste or anything like that. So we always recommend to add fruit to your water to flavor it. Citrus fruit is great, like oranges, limes, lemons, or you could even add berries like strawberries and blueberries. Whatever you enjoy and whatever gets you drinking more water is a great option. If you are interested in decreasing your added sugar intake, especially after those trivia questions in the beginning, some tips are to water down your juices, teas, or lemonades, any sugar sweetened beverage really. So this will help reduce the sugar content. And then another culprit of high sugar intake are sports drinks, so things like Gatorade. You want to be careful of when you're drinking those because they are high in sugar. They're really great for, after a workout, replenishing your electrolytes and things like that. But if you're kind of just drinking them, at all times of the day, they can be really high in added sugars and really add up. Coffee and teas are also a vessel to add a lot of sugar into your diet, like we talked about with the Starbucks Frappuccino. So if you do want to decrease your added sugar intake, you can try slowly scaling back on the sugars, the flavors, the creamers in your coffee or tea, and just kind of like slowly wean yourself off of it until you get to like, a moderate like serving amount for that. And then this image on the side kind of shows you how much water is recommended for you based on your body weight. it's essentially half your body weight in ounces. So say you weigh 100 pounds, you divide it by 2, so it'd be 50. So that's 50 ounces of water. And that's just a rule of thumb. It varies a lot depending on like your activity level. If you had a really hard workout and you sweat a lot, you're going to want to replenish the water that you lost. But this is just a good rule of thumb to get you started. Now I want to touch on alcohol. So what many people don't know, or they try to pretend doesn't exist, is that alcohol does have calories in it. This image on the side shows you about approximately how many calories are in some popular drinks. But probably the biggest issue is that we make poor food choices while we're drinking. And of course, once in a while, like I said, moderation is key, so it's okay. But the main issue with college students and alcohol is the binge drinking. So we tend to drink a lot, like in one sitting, whereas the guidelines recommend, 2 drinks a day for men, 1 drink a day for women at most. So some tips to kind of help with that is just moderating your alcohol intake, and then of course having water in between drinks, just to keep you hydrated, because alcohol is a diuretic. So yeah, these are just some tips. Obviously, a lot of students, a lot of college students are going to drink regardless. So these are just some things to keep in mind if you want to scale back on the alcohol consumption. Next, I wanted to provide you guys with a short grocery list of just some items that we think that you should always keep on hand and that can make really healthy and versatile meals. So these contain mostly like whole foods, like I said, not too many processed foods, which I also think is really great if you are on a budget and you can just stick to the basics. So there's some produce, some whole grains, meat, fish, dairy, eggs, canned items, frozen. So yeah, these are just some examples. And then this page here, I have some meal ideas that you can make from that grocery list. So one example would be avocado toast for breakfast. Lunch could be a rice bowl. Dinner's a pasta dish. And these meals are great. They are balanced with the My Plate in mind. They contain a lot of vegetables, fruits, and just provide like all the daily nutrients that you need. As college students, we are all pressed for time usually. So it is hard to always have healthy food on hand and to like make that a priority when we have so many things going on, such busy schedules. So some of our time saving tips are 1, to meal prep or ingredient prep if you enjoy doing that. Personally, I don't like meal prepping, but I do ingredient prep. And what that means is you kind of prepare one ingredient like in bulk. So say, for example, you are making these rice bowls for lunch. You can prepare at the beginning of the week a big batch of brown rice to have throughout the week. Instead of like putting the whole meal together, you can kind of have brown rice ready to go. So I think this is a good idea for any grains or proteins, the things that usually take the longest to cook. If you just kind of have them ready to go, it's easy to just throw a meal together fast. Another time-saving tip are crock pots, Instant Pots, and air fryers. I have an air fryer and I use it all the time, and I find that it really does save me time. Things that I would normally like put in the oven, I can just throw in the air fryer, and it cuts down on any like preheat time for the oven. And it also just cooks faster, I find. Instant Pots are also great, and crock pots are too. If you don't have any of those, no worries. You don't need to go out and spend your money. You can also do one pot or one pan meals. And these are also super fast because you just throw it all together and then throw it in the oven or throw it on the stove, and then clean up super easy too. I definitely find that the cleanup process is sometimes takes longer than the cooking process. So this makes it really simple. And then lastly is to plan. Not everyone's favorite tip. It does take time and effort to do this, but if you are really interested in, eating healthy meals and, starting a healthier lifestyle, you're going to have to put in the time and prioritize this. All right, so we kind of covered everything about meals, but of course, what about snacks? So snacks are really important and kind of our best friends during college, after these long, busy days of classes, practices, homework, club meetings, all of that stuff. So snacks will help sustain us in between these meals. You want to focus on fat, fiber, and protein in your snacks because they will keep you fuller for longer. Some examples of snacks would be like apples and nut butter, or any fruit really and nut butter. You can do Greek yogurt and fresh fruit, or Greek yogurt and granola. Crackers and hummus, or carrots and hummus, are also a great option. And my favorite option are homemade energy bites, which I have a recipe for here. These are awesome. They are super cheap and super easy to make. All you need for them are rolled oats, peanut butter, maple syrup or honey, and chocolate chips. And you basically just combine all the ingredients together. It makes like a sticky consistency dough. And then you just roll them into balls and then pop them into your fridge or your freezer, and you're good to go. And they are such an easy and quick snack to take with you. They're portable, and they are also really, really tasty. So I make these all the time, especially when I know I'm gonna have a busy week ahead. These are a great snack option because you got everything in there. You have the fat, the protein, the fiber from the oats. So these are a great option. I would highly recommend saving this recipe. If you want to screenshot it right now, go for it. So if you are interested in continuing to learn about nutrition, these are some nutrition documentaries that I have seen before and would recommend. Some of them are on Netflix. Some of them you might have to find elsewhere, but Forks Over Knives is a great one. This one talks about plant-based diets and the health benefits for that. What the Health is also more about the plant-based diet movement. Game Changers is also a plant-based diet, but that one's specifically in athletes, which is pretty interesting. Fed Up is all about kind of like the policy side of nutrition, which I find really interesting. So that one is also a good one. And Hungry for Change, I have not seen, but I was wondering if you guys have any nutrition movies that you've seen before that you want to recommend to others.
My mom showed me one. It's a documentary. I think it's on Netflix. It's called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, but it just promotes like juicing like greens and stuff.
Yeah, I have seen that one on Netflix, but I haven't watched that one.
Yeah, it shows this one person's transformation, and he looks so much better. It's really crazy and inspiring.
Yeah, that's really cool. Most of these documentaries tend to, be biased towards one side, but I think it's cool to watch different types of documentaries because you can really get perspectives on both sides, and they're just really educational, I find. And if you want to continue to learn about nutrition, you should come to a Nutrition Care Club meeting. Our members are mostly nutrition majors, but we also have some health promotion majors and some exercise science people as well. So we're open to everyone. We meet virtually on Zoom every week on Thursdays at 1. And each week we do something different. Sometimes we have discussions, we watch documentaries or videos. We sometimes do community service events, not right now, but hopefully next semester we will. And then, of course, professional development opportunities. So if you are interested in joining, our email is right at the bottom, so you can write it down, send us an email, and we'll get you filled in. So that is all I have. I would love to answer any questions if you guys have any.
Wait, for the club, did you say to just email the Rowan Nutrition Care Club to
Yes, you could email us, or if you want to go on ProfLink and like there, I think there's like a join club button. Um, Either way, we'll get you set up if you email us.
Okay, thank you.
Jade asked, what are your favorite air fryer recipes? I think I have found that any like frozen food item works really well in the air fryer. So any frozen thing I think works well. I find that making like chicken in the air fryer is super easy. It really cuts down on the time that it takes to cook and it makes it really crispy. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of other things. Do you guys have any fun recipes for the air fryer?
I sometimes make fried cauliflower, and then there's like this you can do fried cauliflower fried, or I put sometimes shrimp in there, and then like make a bang bang sauce, and it tastes so good. You just dip it in.
That sounds really good. Lauren also said chickpeas are good. I think anything you want to like get really like crisped up works well in the air fryer. One time my roommate made cookies in the air fryer. There's so many things out there, and so many things I see on like social media too. So yeah, I would definitely recommend like vegetables in the air fryer taste really good. Any proteins, chicken, shrimp. Yeah. Any other questions?
All right, if there are no other questions, I'm just going to jump in here and say thank you again to Taylor. I thought that was such a wonderful presentation. I know I learned a lot from what you had to offer and really appreciated your shopping list. I took a screenshot of that as well, and some of your recipes were awesome. Just want to remind everybody, I did put the ProfLink link in here. And I did type out the Nutrition Care Club email address if you're interested. So ProfLink does have a lot of different options for various wellness, well-being programs and services and clubs that you can check out. Through this Health and Wellness Expo, we try to highlight a lot of the services that are and groups and departments that are available to you. But of course, we weren't able to have everybody. So check that out. I do want to encourage you to attend additional sessions if you're interested. We do have sessions this afternoon and tomorrow. I put the link back to the Health and Wellness Expo website, which is where we will also place all of the videos from the sessions. If you missed any, I know some are occurring at the same time, so if you missed one, you can check those out. I don't think I mentioned this in the beginning of the session, but we are raffling off t-shirts and water bottles. So basically you just showing up gives you an entry to win, and we choose 10 winners each day. So I'll email you if you want a t-shirt or a water bottle, and you'll be able to pick those up. If anybody's on campus today, and I think if the weather is holding up, we are doing some in-person activities on the intramural field from 2 to 4. So if you want a little in-person interaction, of course, we'll be wearing masks and distancing as well. And I think that's about it. But again, just thank you to all of you for being here. And of course, thank you to Taylor for this wonderful presentation. I hope you all have a great day.
Thanks for coming.